Hello and welcome to today's session on how you can create Canva magic in your free Canva education account. My name's Jo, and in addition to having taught in primary school settings for more than 20 years, I am now a Canva learning consultant, as well as a Canva creator and a Canvassador. Please make sure that you're signed into your school account, as this is going to be a hands-on learning activity for us all today. Here's a little brief snapshot of some of the magic tools that are available for your teaching and learning context. Now that you've had a moment to log into your Canva education account, let's have a look at the Canva AI that's available from your homepage. So there are always a couple of ways to do everything within Canva. To access your Canva AI, you can either head on over to the left-hand side here where you see in this tab down the side, it says Canva AI. Additionally, underneath your banner, you'll also have the button over here that says Canva AI. And before we get too deep into today's learning, I am going to preface this by saying that Canva AI is by default turned on for teaching staff and turned off for students. However, you may or may not see some of the features that we discussed today. Depending on your local school's context, they may or may not have turned on or off some of these features for you. Let's tap on the Canva AI button now and check out some of the features available within here. So you will see that I have several tabs underneath my prompt box. We do have in beta a Create Student Activities feature that is coming soon. You are able to join this beta group of testers to see how you might use that in your classroom. And we do ask for some feedback on your activities and your student engagement within that. I'm more than happy for you to reach out to me if you would like to participate in that project. We also have a Design for Me button here, a Create an Image, Draft a Doc, and Code for Me. Some of you may even see a video prompt here, but it is worth noting that creating 3D video at the moment is unavailable within our education accounts. Let's have a look at the Design for Me function. Once we tap on that, I'm now able to type into the prompt box a prompt to generate something that I know that might help me with my future teaching. So as we're heading back to school, why don't I type a prompt in here about a cool first day back to school activity for our students on how to get to know each other. So I've written here to create a fun 5-minute presentation of talking topics for back to school activity. The talking topics will be based around getting to know you style questions and class discussions. I've also prompted it to make it fun, bold, bright and colourful with emoji images accompanying it. Make it 10 pages long, including the title page. Let's tap on the submit button here and watch the magic happen. Now we can see that the Canva magic is doing its thing in the background here and building this entire presentation for me from scratch. And here we go. I love that it's given me a variety of different styles to choose from as well. So all I have to do is have a little scroll through, decide on which one I like best. I simply tap on it to then open within the Canva editor if I need to do any additional customization for my students here. Check it out. Let's see what it's done for us. How great is this? All done with a quick prompt and the click of a button. Let's head on back to my Canva homepage and have a look at a different feature within Canva AI. So whilst I have already selected my Design for Me tab, I'm going to click on that little X now so that I can access the rest of my Canva AI features here. The next one I'm going to look at is the Create an Image feature. This is where I can simply write a prompt, then choose one of the preset styles here, the aspect ratio, click Generate, and I'm going to get a picture as a result. I've written here to create a picture of a family of cute and friendly monsters vacationing at the beach. I can now add the type of style I want, and I want it to be a bit cute and cartoony, so let's have a look at the different options they have. Let's go with this one. I want it to be a square, and then I click generate. Within seconds, I now have my little monster family portrait ready for me to use as is or customize within the editor. Let's check out the next feature. I'm going to close this and then click off the create an image search here. Now I'm going to select draft a doc. This is where I'm going to type a prompt and receive some written output. I've asked it to create a lesson plan with 4 fun icebreaker games ready for the first day back to school, and my audience is grade 2 students. Let's check it out. Here we go. I can now select the lesson plan that it's created. Check out what it's given me here. A whole bunch of cool games that I can do with my students on the first day back. I'm going to open this up in the Canva editor, make my final tweets, and then download it ready to use on day 1. Finally, let's head on back to our final AI from within the homepage. And that is my absolute favorite, and it's called Code for Me. Let's tap on that now. This is where we're going to be able to build and create any virtual or digital manipulative that we need to help accompany any of our lessons. This can be used as a teaching tool, a consolidation tool, or as a tool for your students to be able to create a prompt to demonstrate their understanding as well. All we have to do is type the prompt, watch the code get built, and then insert it straight into our learning management system or build a QR code so that it can be delivered to our students via their devices. I've gotten quite specific here because I actually want to create an entire classroom dashboard that serves different functions, including having both a dice, a name picker, a traffic light signal to show the different noise levels within the classroom, and an analog clock. Once I click on the submit button, I actually can see Canva working behind the scenes to create that code. And here we have it. Now, just remember that the more complex that your prompt is, the longer it takes to create that. So I would always suggest that you do this prior to your lesson. But here I have a countdown timer where I can simply input my time. I can roll my dice here. I have a name picker, my noise level thermometer here in the form of a traffic light, an analog clock, as well as an emotions container. Just remember that all of your prompts are saving on the left-hand side and they are accessible via the little hamburger menu on the side here. This is where you can grab your old generations. If there is anything here that you would like to save, they do time out at the bottom here. But a new feature with Canva Code is we can now also access the code there and use that in a design as well. Check out some of these cool Code for Me generations that I've built that are more from a primary context, as that's my area of experience and expertise, but you could use some of these ideas and take them away with you today. Let's check out some of these ones that we've got here. What we have is not only the activity, but also the prompt that I use to help generate that as well. So I will give you a QR code for this in a moment so that you can access this website. Let's check out some of these activities. Let's have a look at this one. Here is a planet memory card matching game where when our students are working on the solar system, they can simply jump in here, play a game of matching and match up their different planets and get to know all the different names of the different planets in our solar system. You're able to access the prompt simply by tapping on the bar just underneath it there and seeing exactly what I wrote to help create that game in the first place. Additionally, we also have a piano. So when I tap on this piano, it is completely interactive and comes with audio. Isn't that pretty incredible? We also have here a typing practice activity. This one here actually highlights the letters to help with familiarity of the keyboard. However, you can write into your prompt to not have that. You may want to have a speed timer up the top here, and you may want to cycle between a whole bunch of different sentences here that are based on your spelling words or your topics for the term. If I continue to go down here, I have a fun timer that has some floating emojis, and I can choose and set the different times. I also have here a mindfulness breathing activity where our students need to inhale, hold their breath, and exhale whilst our colour background here pulsates into different colours of the rainbow. If I continue to work on down here is an activity where I can create a spelling game based on this week's spelling words. So I simply come in here, I have my students practice their spelling. It tends to, as the students select the wrong letter here, it will add to the sun. It's a little like Hangman, but a little more student friendly. If I keep moving down here, here's a multiplication challenge that you guys can create and embed within your learning management system. The students need to try and beat the clock here by simply tapping on the correct answer. If it's correct, it will flash green, and if it's wrong, it will flash red. And this will cycle through a variety of different questions. And if this is opened up on students sitting next to each other, it will have different questions so they're not able to work together to help come up with those answers. All right, we also have here a character strengths activity where the students are able to jump in here, determine what their character strengths are, read a little bit of information, and give a little bit of feedback to their teachers based on that. So some of these tools are incredibly useful for being able to then drop into our learning management system or create a digital library for our classroom using QR codes. Here's how we can generate a QR code or a public view link to then share with our students using one of your Code for Me generations. What I'm going to do is after I've created a cool game, I'm going to click on Use in a Design, and I'm actually going to open this up in a presentation. Once that happens, you'll see it takes up the space of this template. I can give it a name. I can add text and elements and other things using my typical editor tools here. But then to make it completely interactive and engaging for our students, I head on over to the share button in the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to create a public view link. This means that my students do not need to be signed into Canva to be able to access and play this game. This is particularly useful if you're using shared devices or an iPad for younger students where you don't want them to be signing in and out all the time to access these activities. Once we create and copy that public view link, when I drop that into a new web page, it becomes completely interactive here. So I can simply type in the student's name, add it to there, and then I can play my claw machine game. However, if I'd like to turn this into a QR code, I have now copied that public view link. And back here on the game, I can head back to an app, and there's lots of different QR code apps within here, and I tend to go with the absolute most basic one, which is called QR code. I'm simply going to paste that link straight into here, generate the code, and there I have it, a QR code ready to print and send to my students to access their work. Okay, let's head into the editor to look at additional functionality with AI from within that space. Back again on your homepage, we're going to head on over to the left-hand side where it says Create. I'm going to tap on that Create button, and I'm just going to open up a blank presentation slide. So you can go ahead and do that now as well. Once we're in this space, let me point out some cool tools that you can use from within the Canva editor. Firstly, if you're not yet in the thumbnail preview view, that means that you have your design space here and you're able to see additional pages down the bottom. You can turn that on by clicking on the Pages button down here in the bottom right-hand corner. This is just going to help you seamlessly move between different pages during this activity. On one of those pages, I'm going to get you to click the letter T for text box, and you'll notice that it's added a text box straight into your design. Now I want you to write me one sentence about all the awesome fun that you got up to during your summer break. Here's my prompt. We went on a family road trip up and down the east coast of Australia, visiting 3 different states, including Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. Now I'm going to show you how we can make some magic happen with our Magic Write pen. Once I tap on that text box, you'll notice that I get not only a toolbar up the top here where I can edit and customize all of my text, but I also get this smaller toolbar here that has a little blue pen on it. This is my Magic Write pen, and when I click on that, you'll notice that I have lots of different cool functions that I can use to help me generate some text. But for this one, we're going to click on the top one that says Generate Quiz. I particularly like this tool because I can check my students' understanding simply by generating a quiz for them with the click of a button. Let's click on it now and see what happens. Within seconds, I now have a quiz question that correlates directly to the content that was within that text box. So which states were visited during the family's road trip? There's my 3 options, and then my students can submit. If I want to share this with my students, I simply head on over to the share button in the top right-hand corner, create a public view link, create and copy, and when I drop that into a new web page, it becomes a completely interactive activity where my students get immediate feedback, and you can then collect all of that information from your original question under the responses button over here on the left-hand side. I can also use my Magic Write pen to do a variety of other things, including creating a prompt to generate text output, rewriting, fixing spelling, even using my AI-generated brand voice that my administrator is able to establish within our school brand kit. Let's head on down to the bottom here where we have our thumbnail view and add a new page simply by tapping on the plus button. Once you have your new page open, head on over to the left-hand side here and I want you to select the button that says Elements. Underneath Elements, you'll be able to scroll on down to where it says AI Image Generator. And this is where we're going to click on the button that says Generate Your Own. Here we're going to add a prompt and get a picture output. So again, like the one that we looked at from within our homepage, we are able to choose any of the preset styles here, as well as our aspect ratio as well. Let's jump in here and create a prompt on our favorite animal mixed with our favorite dessert. I've asked the AI to create a seahorse out of purple, blue, and green Jell-O. I'm going to use the Inspire Me button today because I really have no idea what I want this to look like. So I'm going to use some AI magic here to let it choose on my behalf. Oh my goodness, wow. Check these out. It's given me 4 different choices. I simply have to tap on any of them to insert it straight into my design. And there we go. How incredible does that look? And a little tasty. But once we've created any one of these pictures, we can also continue to edit it using some of the Magic Studio features found under the Edit button. So let's go on and collapse that toolbar on the side there, and then tap on my picture to access this toolbar along the top. Here you'll see that I have my background remover function here, so let's just tap on that and see what happens. What I love about background remover is it also removes the background from videos as well. I'm just going to click back so that I have my background again, and then tap on my picture again to access my Magic Studio. So when I click on the edit button here, you're going to see a whole bunch of extra tools that I can use to edit my image. Let's go on and click the BG or the background generator now, where I can type in a prompt to remove and replace the background that exists within here. I've asked it to create a beautiful under the ocean scene with beautiful sparkling clear waters, sand and coral reefs. Let's click on generate now to see what it comes up with. Wow, look at these. They're all quite similar. Little differentiation between each of them, but I think I like this one the most. Isn't that great? Now what I'm going to get you to do is to add a new page down the bottom simply by clicking on the plus sign. And when you have that blank page open, head on over to where it says Elements, and I want you to type in Family Photo. We are going to choose a photo, not a graphic for this. So let's click on Photo and select one that speaks to us. Here we go. I found a family at Christmas time. Once I've inserted that picture into my design, there's a couple of cool things that I can do with this now. I'm going to tap on the picture and click on the Edit button on the left-hand side so that I can access my Magic Studio again. Here I have my magic eraser, and this is going to take something away from my picture completely. So I'm going to tap on that now, and I can choose to use either the brush or the click function here. So I'm going to hover over the top of different parts of this picture here, and my AI is going to be able to pick up and take away part of that picture. So I'm going to remove this little boy in the corner here. Let's click him, and let's click his hand. Select erase. And check it out, he's gone. I might need to tidy this up with removing his arm and his little fingers over here in the corner, but it's done a pretty good job of filling in that negative space there as well. If I click back out of Magic Eraser and I head on over to the Magic Grab button, this means that I can move something and reposition it within this picture. So let's click on Magic Grab now. I'm going to grab the grandmother and the child and move them over just a little bit. What it's done here is that it has detached the grandmother and the child, and I'm able to move them around now. So I might like to make her a little bit bigger, which I can do. I can reposition her so she's a little more in the foreground, and there we go. Let me just show you where you can access some cool support tools from Canva from their design school, as well as some AI certifications to really help level up your skills in AI. Once you're on your homepage, you head on down to the bottom left-hand corner where you see your initials. You tap on that button, and underneath Help and Resources, you'll see the button that says Design School. This is a place where you can go for all your tips, your tricks, your certifications, courses, videos, tutorials, cheat sheets, anything that you need to really help support your Canva education journey. From within here, I can get certified on a variety of different Canva courses, including AI in the classroom. But if we simply type into here, we have a code for me certification or course that's just dropped in the last couple of weeks, and we're able to go through that half an hour activity and get a nice little certification at the end of it. Here we go. This is what it looks like. You start that course, it'll take approximately 30 minutes, and you'll be a total Canva Code Pro. So thank you so much for joining today. I really hope that you've been able to take something away from today's session, and I'd really love for you to touch base with me on any of my social media accounts and tell me how you've been able to use Canva AI in your school. Thank you so much for joining. I'll catch you later. Bye.